Superman and Lois. It's your boy Icon back with a little DC TV review, and we're back with some Superman and Lois. Some good superhero television is back, baby, and I'm here for it. And apparently it's been 27 days since the season finale of last season, and we're getting right into this review of Superman and Lois. This episode is season 3. We're up to this is season 3, episode 1, Closer. And the episode told us nothing that got us closer to what the plot is going to be for this season, but we did get some follow-ups to each individual character story. There actually was some superheroism, some superhero-ness did take place in this particular episode, but we're going to get to that in the end. So, because I figure because there wasn't a lot of superheroing, and it was mostly like character driven, we're just going to we're going to go down the line. We're just going to talk about each individual character and where they are for this particular season. Tobias Church, he's supposed to be the villain of the season because he's playing Bruno Mannheim. And I call him Tobias Church because on Arrow season 5, he was Tobias Church. He was hired to play Tobias Church, and now he's still getting that DC Chizek because he's playing Bruno Mannheim on whatever Earth Superman just happens to be on now. So that's cool. It's cool to see that actor actually getting that work. So here we go. So now this particular episode, the episode starts where we picked up from the last season, where they showed the clip of Clark building the new fortress that's supposed to be for his family, although 2 members of his family have no way of getting to that fortress. They did the funny thing because the actor who played Jonathan last season, he left the show due to personal reasons, and now we had to get a new actor. The way it was done was very weird because they had Clark do a voiceover where it was either Clark or like Lois. One of them, I believe it was Lois. One of them did a voiceover, and then they were just like, "Yes, it's been 27 days since 2 Earths almost merged together, and then now my husband, myself, my son Jordan," and then they did a huge close up on the new kid, and they're like, "My son Jonathan, aka look everybody, this is the new guy," like they like, "We're here and we're a family," and blah blah blah. Now the actor that they got, he didn't get a lot of shine in this particular episode, but they did pick, they casted very well because he legitimately looks like he could have come from both Superman and Lois. He looks like their child. He has that Kent, like son of El like look to him. And nothing against the previous actor, but the hairstyle that the kid had, because he was blonde. Like nobody in the family's blonde. Like, he had like light blonde, like light brownish hair, and everybody else had dark hair. So at least this kid looks like he belongs in the damn family. He kind of looks like Jordan with a haircut. So, and then it's like he has the build. So if he did have superpowers, it would make sense, because the kid has the build. And plus, he looks like an athlete. Like, he legitimately looks like a football athlete. So good casting on that part. He got his driver's license, and he got his truck. His brother gave away his truck because I guess he didn't need it because he can fly, which is dumb. They did mention Tao, who's still on Bizarro World. Jonathan's whole storyline is, in this particular episode anyway, he was talking to his brother. He was trying to get his driver's license. The coach ended up having to get 2 jobs because the football program got ruined when he was taking the green juice last season. So that was his whole thing, and he's just celebrating his birthday, and he's just going through life. Jordan now, he's trying to learn how to be in the family business. His dad is teaching him how to be a super, teaching him how to fly, teaching him about his power. And of course, just like any teenager would do, after his dad does every single thing he can to try to teach him the right way to use his power for truth and justice, he does the complete opposite and starts running roughshod. There was a moment where Superman had gotten an alert that there was a tanker or a boat or something that was being destroyed somewhere like across the world. And then when he went to go investigate and to save lives, Jordan had beat him to it. And Jordan was trying to save the people's lives. But the way Jordan was going about it, he was actually creating more harm than good. Superman got upset and he was like, look, he said, unless I tell you to, hint, hint, unless I tell you to, don't do anything like that again because you don't know what you're doing. And he was like, yo, Dad, I got this. And Superman almost whooped his ass. So now he's just like trying to find his niche as far as like being a super. He's still in the situationship with Sarah, and Sarah's whole thing is she liked him and then she didn't like him, and then now she just doesn't want to be, she just wants to be friends. She doesn't want to be in a relationship anymore. Sarah get on my damn nerves, and her wishy-washiness is annoying to no end. The problem with Sarah though, she's doing the typical thing where she doesn't want to be with him, but she still wants him to like be nice to her and hang out with her and do stuff with her. Because like there was a moment during the birthday party where she came to him and she was like, are you avoiding me? And he was like, yes. And then she was just like, oh, she's like, I didn't mean to hurt you, which is fine, but you still hurt him. And then and then he was like, and he told her flat out, he was like, yo, this is awkward. He said, I want to be with you. You don't want to be with me. It's awkward. And then she was just like, oh, I need some time. And I just need you to respect the fact that, I want to be alone right now. Okay. But you also need to respect the fact that it's still awkward as hell for him to be around you. And if he chooses not to be around you while you find yourself, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine, because you can't expect him to still follow you around and still talk to you like it's all good, because on his end, it's not all good. And Jordan continues to disappoint me. I hope he finds a new girl, starts hanging out with a new girl, and then just leaves Sarah alone. And then Sarah's going to get all, I'm like, the boy told you his secret. Like, he told you who he was. And it's just like, she's still acting up. So anyway, so that was basically it. So now Jordan, he's doing the whole thing where it's like, oh, dad doesn't want me to be a superhero, and Sarah's being weird. I don't know what to do. So he's falling into the abyss. Natalie, who was the breath of fresh air in last season, they're doing the thing with Natalie where they're still doing the multiverse thing with Natalie, to the point they're still doing the whole, oh, I lost my entire world, I lost my friends, my family. And it's like, I don't want to say she needs to get over it, but at this point it should not be as significant to her as it is, because the moment they did the whole thing with her and the grandfather, when they came together, when her and Colonel Lane came together, and I thought about it because he was just like, I was your grandfather on your Earth, right? And I was like, shit, you were her grandfather. I never even thought about that. He asked her if he could go out, the two of them could spend some time together, and then when they went to go see a movie together, he low-key tried to recruit her to join the DOE, youth program, and then she got upset because she was just like, oh, I thought you wanted to get to know me, not recruit. And I'm just like, why are we still doing that? Like the whole thing with Natalie being upset because the people that she knows isn't the people that she knows. I'm like, why are we still doing that? I'm only giving this one a pass because the whole thing about the grandfather being her grandfather, I'm like, okay, that was an avenue we actually didn't explore, and it legitimately does make sense. So I'm fine with that particular thing. And then he apologized later, and he was just like, I want you in my life for real, not just to recruit you to work for the government. So at this point, the Natalie being upset about not being on this Earth thing needs to die. Natalie needs to do something else that is significant to this program, aside from complaining that every single person on her fallen Earth is no longer here. She needs to be in a place where she's moving past that at this point and learning about the people that she's currently with. So hopefully we'll get there now, but because it got brought up, she's obviously going to join the damn DOE school before the season's over. And then, for the love of God, can we actually get some scenes with Natalie and Lois hanging out? Because at the end of season 1, it ended on the cliffhanger of Natalie and Lois coming together and seeing each other face to face. They had one conversation at the first episode of season 2, and I swear to God, it's like Natalie and Lois were never in a scene together. They never had a conversation with each other. They were never in the same place at the same time. They never looked each other in the eye since that one particular scene. And I'm just like, what is happening? Like, can we at least have, like, do they meet up for drinks? Do they have lunch together? I need more of Lois and Natalie talking, in this particular season, because we talked so much about it in last season and it never turned into anything. So I'm waiting for that. Now, your boy John Henry Irons, he's still, I guess he's doing the Bruno Mannheim thing. I don't know if he said he looked into it, but some leads felt cold and he didn't want Lois pursuing it for whatever reason, but Lois is still going to pursue it because she's a journalist and that's what she does. His sister on this Earth, she popped up, Mrs. Irons, she's a doctor. So because the thing is, Lois's storyline was that she thought she was pregnant. The whole episode, she thought she was pregnant. We found out at the end of the episode, she's not pregnant. She ain't having no babies. Her and Clark be sneaking away to have super sex, and she thought she was pregnant, but she's not pregnant. She found out that she might be pregnant because she went and she spoke to John Henry Irons, sister on this particular Earth. So because they brought her in to have a conversation with Lois Lane, because Lois is investigating the John Henry Irons, like her John Henry Irons, she's investigating that death at the hands of Bruno Mannheim. So because we're doing that, and because there was actually a conversation, and they actually hired an actress to play John Henry Irons' sister on this particular Earth, one can only imagine that before this season is over, John Henry Irons himself and or Natalie are actually going to have a conversation with this woman who's supposed to be this Earth's version of his sister. That is the only reason why you would hire somebody to play that character. I'm kind of looking forward to that, to see where that goes, but aside from John Henry Irons cursing out the general for trying to recruit his daughter, he didn't really do much in that episode, in this particular episode either. Kyle and Lana, they're finally getting a divorce, and they toyed with Do they want to get the divorce? Do they not want to get the divorce? Kyle said that he signed the papers, but Lana never signed it, which means that they're like, oh, maybe there's a chance that she changed her mind or she doesn't want to sign the paper. And then at the end of the episode, she signed the paper. Kyle ended up having sex with Chrissy, and I'm fine with that. Chrissy, she's definitely like nerd fine. Like she got that nerd fine this thing, and I'm happy for Kyle because Kyle paid his dues. Kyle made a mistake. He got a bad rap. They should have never got divorced. Lana being crazy. I feel for Kyle. So to see him get a win with someone like Chrissy, I was actually happy for Kyle. Chrissy's the one who's being weird about it now, and she's like, oh, us having sex can never happen again, which means it's going to happen again. And I do like that because there were the two characters on the show, because I said, like, I think I said this in my reviews for last season. John Henry Irons at some point is either going to have sex with Lana or Chrissy. And now that Chrissy is dealing with Kyle, we can take Chrissy off the board. And there was a moment where John Henry Irons and Lana were like yucking it up at, like at the birthday party. So John Henry Irons is going to sleep with Lana Lane before this particular season is over. And Chrissy and Kyle are going to end up developing some sort of relationship. But then when Chrissy was at his house about to do the walk of shame, that's when Lana showed up. And then she was like, oh, I signed the papers. And then she signs the papers. She gives them to Kyle. And then she's standing at his front door like a dumbass. And then she's like tearing up like he's supposed... Like, she was standing there as though he was supposed to say something to comfort her. And I'm like, you're the one that wanted to get a divorce. You signed the papers, peace. Like, if anything, when she was just like, oh, Kyle, I didn't see you at the birthday party. He was like, yeah, that's because I was getting my sex on. Like, I was banging the next chick. He's just like Lana doesn't deserve to have her feelings protected in this particular situation because she wanted this and she got what she wanted. So the old mayor, he showed up because apparently Lana took some money and she moved it from one account to another to save the children. And the old mayor, he didn't want to save the children. And he was like, oh, you don't know what that money was for. And there's bigger, stakes, or there's bigger plans. So basically like the Court of Owls or some shit. there's like some bigger threat that has something to do with the money. Maybe it's Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is supposed to be on this season. So maybe that has something to do with Lex Luthor. We'll more on that later. Like I said, there were a lot of like weird Easter eggs that got dropped in this thing. Like this whole episode basically set up storylines. We didn't actually get a storyline, and then finally Clark, who's working at the Smallville Gazette. He works there at the paper now. Chrissy knows that he's Superman, so he can leave and do his superheroism. He ended up flying to Metropolis to fight some dude. The guy's name was Henry, and the guy that he fought didn't have superpowers, and the guy has superpowers now. And then the guy died, and then his body got taken someplace, and then Bruno Mannheim had him on a table, and Bruno Mannheim gave him some injection that brought him back to life. So now Bruno Mannheim is bringing people back to life, and as we know, Bruno Mannheim, he controls Intergang, and Intergang is supposed to work with Apocalypse. So hopefully that's going to turn into something, and that's going to be a thing with Apocalypse and Intergang and Bruno Mannheim. That's all we got. We didn't get anything further. All we know is that Lois ain't pregnant. And thank you for tuning in. I'm glad Superman and Lois is back. I'm happy Superman and Lois is back. But like I said, this particular episode, it just felt more of a, hey, let's cross the T's and dot the I's of last season. And like I said, we didn't actually get anything for this season. But the stuff that we got was interesting. It's like little nuggets, little tidbits. But we'll see where everything progresses as the season goes forward. So check me on Twitter and or Instagram. Let me know what you thought about the first episode of Superman and or Lois, down in the comment section below, where we can talk about our superhero goodness, where we want things to go, where we hope things will go, and every single thing in between. Check out my Flash review. Check out my Shazam Fury of the Gods review, which is up on my YouTube channel as we wait for Titans and Doom Patrol. And we'll be back next week live on location for some more Superman and Lois. So take care, everybody. So we're back, baby. Superman and Lois is back. Up and away. And from now until the end of the season. So until next week, take care. And I'm out this.